Sometimes we don't break in a single moment. We break slowly, like a violin string fraying soundlessly until it snaps. Ethan Clark was, to the outside world, a man who had it all. At 44, he was the CEO of a high-end creative agency in London, married to a beautiful lawyer named Julia, and father to twin boys. His penthouse overlooked the Thames. His clients included global fashion houses, and his calendar was booked a year in advance. He was admired, envied, even idolized. But Ethan was empty. For years he had functioned like a machine, strategizing, negotiating, smiling through champagne galas and networking dinners. He didn't remember the last time he sat in silence. He didn't remember the last time he cried. And then, one December evening, everything fell apart, quietly. Julia handed him the divorce papers. "I can't live with someone who isn't really here," she said. "You left a long time ago, Ethan." The boys didn't say much, just hugged him tighter than usual and left with her. That night, Ethan stayed in the penthouse alone. He turned off all the lights. He sat by the window for hours, watching the blinking city lights like static on a broken screen. The following weeks blurred into one. Ethan stopped showing up at the office. His assistant brought papers. He signed them without reading. Emails piled up. Messages from friends went unanswered. But then came one message, not from a friend or colleague, but from a number he didn't recognize. "Mr. Clark, I believe you once funded our inner-city art program. Our center is closing. Would you like to visit before it does?" Maya Lister, 26, art therapist. Ethan barely remembered the program. It was part of a philanthropic PR move years ago. But something made him respond. "I'll come." The community art center was buried between old apartment blocks, far from Ethan's glass tower. Inside, children were painting on torn canvas. Teenagers sat in corners sketching furiously. On the walls were quotes. "Art doesn't heal all wounds. It just reminds you that you're bleeding." Maya was younger than he expected. Messy hair, stained hands, calm eyes. "Most of them come here to forget," she said. "Some come to remember. Which are you?" "I don't know anymore," Ethan replied. He visited again the next day. Then again. Then every week. He didn't say much. Sometimes he just watched. Then one afternoon a boy named Kai, 13, with a burned hand and 2 old eyes, asked, "Do you know how to draw sadness?" Ethan didn't answer. Instead, he picked up a pencil for the first time in 20 years, and he drew. Before business school, before the agency, Ethan had dreamed of being a composer. He used to write music in the dark, imagining orchestras from silence. But his father, once a failed musician, called it useless. "You want to end up like me?" he had shouted. So Ethan chose safety, money, reputation. But now he sat in that art center, writing music again. Quiet, hesitant notes on coffee-stained paper. Kai would listen silently. Sometimes he'd hum, sometimes he'd cry. And one evening, Maya sat beside Ethan and said, "They trust you, because you don't try to fix them. You just show up. That's rare." A year later, the art center faced permanent closure. No funding, no public interest. But Ethan, now silent but awake, made a decision. He sold his penthouse, liquidated what was left of the agency. With Maya's help, they transformed the crumbling center into a music and art school for vulnerable youth. The Quiet Symphony project. Each room had instruments, walls repainted, volunteers came, donations followed. Ethan taught kids who had never touched a piano. He composed with Kai, who had never felt safe before. He wrote his first complete symphony in decades titled "For Those Who Still Hear in Silence." 3 years later, the school hosted its first concert. Parents cried. The kids wore second-hand tuxedos and thrift store dresses. Kai played the violin solo. Ethan stood backstage, listening. He no longer lived in a penthouse. He no longer wore $4,000 suits. But his heart beat differently now, fuller, stronger, real. Someone once told him success was what others saw. But now he understood. Success is when your soul returns home. And sometimes home is not a place, but a purpose rediscovered.